Hey man, here's something you were never taught but have probably felt deep in your bones. A woman will never truly be happy in a relationship where you're constantly the one doing the chasing. She may smile, she may accept your affection, she may even say she loves you, but deep down, she's bored. That's the harsh truth. Because women aren't wired for constant comfort. They're not wired to value the thing that's handed to them without resistance. They're wired to pursue, to win, to feel like they earned your attention, your presence, your heart. And the second she stops pursuing you, when she feels she has you wrapped around her finger, her satisfaction fades, not because she's evil, but because she's designed to crave tension, emotional challenge, mystery. And if you remove that, you remove the entire engine of desire. Most men are taught the exact opposite. We're told that to be a good boyfriend, a loving partner, or a high-value man, we must constantly prove ourselves, compliment her, show up for her, never let her wander. But that's not attraction, that's servitude. That's you stepping off your throne and walking into her emotional maze, hoping you can love her into satisfaction, and it never works. Why? Because women do not want to receive you all the time. They want to chase you. They want to feel like you are slightly out of reach, that they could lose you if they don't earn you, that your love is valuable because it's not just thrown around, it's selective. And that selection process, that's what ignites her feminine core. That's what keeps her obsessed. Think back to any time a woman seemed most obsessed with you. Was it when you were giving her 100% of your time, attention, and affection? Or was it when you were slightly distant, focused on your goals, calm, centered, unbothered by her reactions? Chances are the more nonchalant you were, the harder she chased. That's not a game, that's nature. Masculine energy is rooted in purpose. Feminine energy is drawn to motion. It needs something to pursue. And when you stop letting her chase, you kill the very tension that keeps her feminine. So when she complains that you're not giving her enough attention, don't be fooled. What she's really saying is, I miss the thrill of trying to win you. Women need to feel the fire of pursuit to stay emotionally lit. You ever notice how a woman will say she wants a man who's emotionally available, but the second she gets one, she starts pulling away? It's because she doesn't actually want a man who gives her everything. She wants a man who gives just enough to make her work, enough to keep her intrigued. That's the secret. Give her enough to stay hooked, but never enough to feel full. When a woman is full, she stops appreciating you. When a woman feels like she's won, she loses curiosity. And when curiosity dies, so does attraction. The reason she was so passionate in the beginning wasn't because you did everything right. It was because she didn't fully have you yet. Her mind was spinning, wondering what you were thinking, if she was enough, if she was special. That tension kept her invested, and your job as a man is to maintain that tension, not through manipulation, but through presence, purpose, and discipline. Now don't get this twisted. This doesn't mean you treat her poorly. It doesn't mean you ignore her, play games, or act cold. What it means is, you always keep yourself slightly unavailable. You let her know through your energy that you're not a man who gives himself fully to anyone who hasn't earned it, that your mission, your self-respect, your inner peace always come first. When you live like this, women feel it, and they respond with passion, with curiosity, with effort, because now they're chasing, they're wandering, they're working for you. And that's the state a woman needs to be in to feel fulfilled in a relationship. When she's trying to win you, trying to keep you, trying to earn more of you, she's alive, she's emotionally invested, she's fully in. But the second she feels like she has nothing to earn, she checks out, quietly, gradually, until one day she's gone. A man who understands this never overinvests. He doesn't text good morning every day. He doesn't try to validate her with constant praise. He doesn't orbit her life. He lets her orbit his. And here's the wild part. The less he gives, the more she offers. Not because she's being manipulated, but because her nature is finally activated. Women aren't designed to sit back and receive endlessly. They crave tension, friction, the unpredictable. They need to feel the risk of losing you to fully appreciate having you. And that's the paradox. Give her everything, and she feels nothing. Hold back just enough, and she feels everything. She dreams about you. She romanticizes you. She invests in you, because now she sees you as a prize, not a guarantee. This is where most guys fail. They confuse consistency with overexposure. Yes, women want consistency, but not the kind where you text them 24/7, spill your heart out daily, and eliminate all sense of mystery. That's not consistency, that's emotional overkill. A woman wants to trust your energy, not own it. When you become predictable, you become replaceable. But when you're consistent in your mission, calm in your demeanor, and unpredictable in your expressions of interest, she feels challenged, and that challenge becomes her obsession. She thinks about you in the shower, wonders what you're doing when you don't respond, asks her friends what you meant when you went quiet mid-convo, and she can't help it, because the less she knows, the more she feels. You'll notice this with high-value women especially. They've had men drooling over them their whole lives. Compliments, attention, validation, none of it moves them anymore. But a man who holds back, who makes her work, who withholds just enough to stir her insecurity, that man flips her reality. Suddenly she's not the prize anymore, you are. And that shift triggers something raw in her. She starts dressing better around you, texting first, asking to see you. She starts performing for your attention because she doesn't feel entitled to it. And that's where she thrives. That's where she feels most feminine, when she's dancing in your gravity, trying to win more of your time, your presence, your affection. That's when she's at her most emotionally alive. Now, the biggest mistake men make, once they get a woman emotionally invested, is that they get comfortable. They start giving more, relaxing more, showing all their cards. They stop being mysterious. They start being available 24/7. They become too easy to access. And what happens? She loses interest, fast. Not because she's cruel, but because she's wired for challenge. She needs the pursuit to feel alive. She needs to feel like she's still earning you, still impressing you, still working to keep your attention. The moment she feels like the chase is over, her emotional engagement collapses. That's why the strongest relationships are built not on comfort, but on dynamic tension, on the feeling that she could lose you if she stops trying. And here's the truth. Most men never accept, a woman will never say this to you. She'll never tell you she wants to chase you. She'll say she wants security, affection, closeness. But if you give those things without requiring her effort, she will resent you for it. She'll feel smothered, bored, emotionally disconnected. Why? Because her biology demands the game. She needs the thrill of conquest, the pull of uncertainty. And if you take that away, you take away the passion. But if you maintain it, if you hold your center, if you keep her just slightly off balance, if you let her work for you, she won't just be satisfied, she'll be obsessed. Because now she's in the one position where women thrive in pursuit. The key is subtle detachment. You're not cold, you're not distant, but you're indifferent to her approval. You show up, but you don't chase. You listen, but you don't try to impress. You care, but not in a way that sacrifices your time, your mission, or your mental clarity. And this kind of man drives women crazy, in the best way, because she doesn't feel in control. She's used to pulling strings, getting what she wants from men with a glance or a pout. But you're immune, you're calm, you're grounded, and that stillness makes her spiral. She can't read you, can't predict you, can't own you. And that, right there, is when she starts investing. Because now the game is on, and the prize is you. Think of it this way, every time you make her chase you, you're not being manipulative, you're being healthy. You're letting her earn your presence, your time, your energy. And the more she earns, the more she values. The more she works, the more she attaches. It's a psychological loop that reinforces obsession, effort creates emotion. If she gives you everything with no resistance, she'll assume you were never worth much to begin with. But if she has to navigate your boundaries, deal with your calm detachment, and prove herself to access you, then when she finally gets that kiss, that night, that version of you that lets his guard down, it hits different, because it wasn't handed to her, it was earned. But let me be clear, this only works if it's real. If you're pretending to be detached while secretly desperate for her affection, she'll feel it. If you fake confidence while simping in silence, she'll sniff it out. Women have emotional radar built into their biology. They can sense neediness masked as confidence. So the goal isn't to act aloof. It's to be full within yourself, to live a life so complete that her presence is a bonus, not a necessity. That's what fuels the chase. That's what makes you rare. A man who doesn't need her, but still chooses her. And that paradox, that's where obsession is born. because every woman wants to be wanted, but only by a man who doesn't need her to breathe. What makes this dynamic so powerful is that it allows polarity to thrive. Masculine energy leads with purpose, with calm, with clarity. Feminine energy follows with emotion, with curiosity, with flow. But when a man starts reacting to her moods, trying to please her, bending his truth to make her feel better, that polarity dies. And without polarity, there's no tension, no attraction, no fire. So the moment she feels like she's leading the relationship emotionally, she's gone. Maybe not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, she's disconnected, because her soul is craving a man who can anchor her chaos, a man who can let her feel without letting those feelings dictate his direction. And that man is always the one she chases. So if you're sitting there wondering why she pulled away, why she stopped texting first, why her enthusiasm vanished overnight, go back to the beginning. Were you the man she had to earn, or the man who gave it all away, hoping to prove your worth? Because if you gave too much, too soon, too easily, you killed the game. You robbed her of the emotional experience she needs to fall in love. And that's not on her, that's on you. But the good news, you can flip it. You can pull back, recenter, reclaim your frame. And once she feels that shift, once she feels that you're no longer chasing, no longer begging, no longer reacting, she will come back. Because now she feels it again. The pursuit, the fire, the thrill, the chase. Here's what most men don't realize. When she has to pursue you, her attraction doesn't just stay alive, it amplifies. Her brain starts working overtime, replaying every moment you gave her attention, every smirk, every moment of eye contact, every message that wasn't too long, but wasn't too short either. Why? Because uncertainty creates obsession. Not confusion, but tension. The tension of not knowing if she fully has you. The tension of wondering where she stands. And as long as you're leading with calm consistency and not emotional chaos, she'll chase that tension like a drug. She'll crave your presence because it soothes her, and your absence because it challenges her. You become the experience she can't figure out, and that becomes irresistible. Men who are constantly trying to validate, impress, and secure a woman emotionally are operating from fear. Fear of loss, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced, and women can smell that fear a mile away. It manifests in your tone, your posture, your energy. But the man who is okay with loss, who is willing to walk away the moment his standards are crossed, never loses, because he becomes the man she has to win over daily. And that's where women thrive, in the dance, in the pursuit, in the energy of, I almost have him, but not completely. And it's that almost that keeps her interest alive, because she's not wired to appreciate what she didn't have to work for. Her nature demands challenge. Think about how women react to celebrities. It's not just fame, it's not just money, it's mystique. That aura of untouchability, that vibe of, I'm living my life, you're welcome to join, but you're not necessary. That energy, it translates. Even if you're not famous, even if you're not rich, you can carry yourself with that same internal power. You can walk through life as a man with mission, values, discipline, and a woman will feel that. She won't know why, but she'll lean in. She'll adjust her tone. She'll ask more questions. She'll reach out first, because your stillness stirs something in her. And when she sees that your life is already full, and she has to earn a seat at your table, she'll chase that seat like her life depends on it. But here's the part most men mess up. They drop their standards. The moment she shows affection, they think, finally, I got her, now I can relax. No, that's the moment you tighten up. That's when you double down on your boundaries, your values, your schedule. Not to push her away, but to keep the polarity alive. Because women don't fall in love with men who make them comfortable. They fall in love with men who make them elevate, who make them think, who keep them emotionally engaged. So the moment she thinks she has you completely, the chase ends. And when the chase ends, the fantasy fades. And when the fantasy fades, the attraction dies. Not because she's cruel, but because that's how her emotional engine works. It needs movement. You want her to chase? Make her curious. Make her wonder. Not by playing games, but by living yours. When you wake up early, when you work on your craft, when you disappear into your mission for hours, that's the game. When she texts you and you respond on your time, when you cancel plans to hit the gym, when you leave her on read because you're locked in, that's not disrespect. That's value, that's power, that's reality. And the woman who's truly feminine at her core, she'll sense it, she'll admire it, she'll respect it, and most importantly, she'll pursue it. Not because you manipulated her, but because you finally understood this truth. She can only fall in love with a man she feels like she's still chasing. Let's get something brutally clear. When a woman no longer feels she has to work for your attention, she won't value your presence. That's not cynicism, it's behavioral psychology. The same woman who once gushed about how thoughtful you were will begin to nitpick, pull away, and create conflict once she feels there's no more pursuit left to engage her heart. And here's where men lose their soul. They start doing more, thinking it'll bring her back. More compliments, more time, more compromise. But in her eyes, you've already become less challenging, less masculine, less desirable. And when that shift happens, there's almost no going back. Because she's not just emotionally distant, she's emotionally done. She may still smile, still say love you, but her soul has checked out. What you must remember is this: the pursuit isn't something you start and stop. It's the engine of long-term attraction. If she chased you in the beginning, but you flipped the script and began chasing her after she gave in, you killed the tension. You took her out of her feminine. You made her the prize. And no woman wants to feel like she's the one maintaining the connection. That role exhausts her. But when you stay centered, when you let her come to you emotionally, when you never over-pursue, you give her something precious, the joy of winning a man who doesn't need her, yet chooses her. And that's what creates not just passion, but devotion. That's when she stops looking around and starts looking up to you. Even in conflict, the pursuit dynamic must remain intact. If she pulls away, don't chase. If she tests you, don't react. If she disrespects your time, withdraw. Why? Because that's when she's unconsciously seeking to feel your frame. She wants to know if you can handle her storm. And most men fold. They argue, they explain, they justify. But the high-value man does something rare. He stays still. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't beg. He lets her come back on her own. And when she does, she's 10 times more attracted than before. Because now she knows you don't just talk like a man, you live like one. And in today's world, that's rare enough to make her chase you forever. This is why women fantasize about men who feel just out of reach. It's not the mystery alone, it's the emotional pursuit. The man she dreams about isn't texting her all day. He's not asking how her lunch was or sending her goodnight messages like clockwork. He's out there doing something, building, creating, evolving. And when she does hear from him, it means something. It hits differently because every breadcrumb he gives is earned. Every response is laced with meaning. Every moment together feels won, not given. And that's what turns her on. That's what locks her in. That's what keeps her invested. Not the flowers, not the poems, not the promises, but the pursuit that never ends. So if you want to be the man she never stops thinking about, don't focus on making her love you. Focus on becoming the kind of man who never has to chase love. A man rooted in his mission, emotionally stable and difficult to impress. A man who is calm in the face of her tests. A man who speaks less and does more. A man who allows the woman to do what her heart wants to do. Pursue the man she can't fully hold. Because the truth is brutal, but beautiful. Women aren't satisfied when they have you. They're satisfied when they're earning you. So don't ever let her stop. Make her work for it. Make her chase. Because that, my brother, is the only way she'll stay.